Hey guys, Jake here. We're at Pear Tree Ranch. Welcome to our Pear Tree Ranch and Problem Horse series. We've got Cisco and his owner is here to watch today. We're hoping to do the first ride. We're going to continue going through that bare minimum of groundwork. In the last session you saw us continue with the tying around and then progress to the obstacles, which was a non-event. The horse clearly understood what to do. He took us to the obstacles versus us asking him to do it, and that really shows how smart he is, how experienced he is. We just kind of got this spot in there that we need to work through, and again, that tying around has been a great way to help support it. So follow along. We're going to get in the round pen and get to work. Sit on him and ask him to go. Get me. Hopefully he's ready. Okay, so we're gonna start just like we started every other time, going through our bare minimum. So what was that again? If you're new to this series, stand still, relax with your head down, even under perceived duress. We'll shush the flag around and encourage him to relax. This is to challenge him with commotion. We create that commotion with the flag, the stick and the string, the tarp, all sorts of different things, and get horses to recognize that's not about them. They don't have to worry about that. Just relax. Okay, we're gonna do forwards, relax. We're gonna do that in a few different ways. We're gonna do sideways down the fence, relax with our head down. That's a forward motion, and we can exaggerate the amounts of rights and lefts, and then the fence helps us get backwards by being in front of their face. Then we'll do forwards, backwards, and right and lefts on a circle, on a 12-foot line, relaxed, walk, trot, canter. And the reason we do that 12-foot line is it pushes the horse to have to yield and fit in a tighter space. You may not start on that short of a rope, but that's where I want to get as a bare minimum to really see that commitment of relaxation at a walk, trot, and a canter. Then we're going to do backing, relax with our head down. We're going to do the rope behind the saddle horn. Without the saddle, we would do it over the withers. The reason we choose that position is because that's where our hands are going to get, and it creates a tight angle on their neck, which can cause them to feel claustrophobic and all wadded up. They learn to get through that. They learn to get comfortable. This is a helpful way to help these horses get steady, relaxed. So we're going to go through that checklist. Then we'll work on the tying around. We don't really need to go to the obstacles because he's comfortable there, and we'll start mounting up. Hey guys, quick pull you away from your scheduled programming of our Problem Horse series. If you want more full-length training, step-by-step, all the inside stuff, that's not on YouTube, that's on Patreon. You can go over and check out patreon.com/peartreeranch. Get signed up there. There's a couple of different tier levels, and we're also starting to do giveaways there where you get in, I give a challenge, you do the challenge, upload your video, all that information is on Patreon, how to do that, how to get entered to win. We got some great prizes there, and that gives you not only the support you need to achieve your goals, but the motivation and the goals that you can pick and choose through those challenges to participate and play along. So let us help you. Go check out patreon.com/peartreeranch. Now, back to your regular scheduled programming. So you can see as we're working on that, as he thinks maybe he needs to move and go somewhere else, I block him over here and then I block him over there. That gives him a space in the middle to find settle and comfort. And then we just challenge him with louder and louder and harder shushing, and don't let him just suck his nose back and tuck his chin to kind of lower the head. We want him to lengthen and stretch that neck to really relax through that front end. That is where rearing can start. With the nose, the mind gets bothered, then the neck gets up, and then the body follows. We really want to keep challenging him with that, especially right at the start. Now we're going to go to our sideways to start giving him some forward motion. We looked in the last session, the difference is starting on the circle versus the sideways. It can be easy on the circle for the horse to create some tension and get bound up. The sideways helps them be more thoughtful, almost forces them to be more thoughtful because of the way they have to move their feet. So we're going to follow along down the fence. So you can see he really knows where to go here and is comfortable in the expectation of this sideways down the fence and how to relax that head and neck. And I walk really slowly. What this causes by me going very slow is he can't just rush off down the fence. He has to be that much more thoughtful in the way he moves, and it gives him time to have these little moments where he gets a nibble of grass, which is kind of a reward for keeping his head down there, where it's easy to get to that sweet little treat. Once we have this going nice and easy, we just started slow here, I'm going to start waving the flag. I'm going to wave it in a trajectory that goes up and down, so it's not ever going to run into him if it continued. This is the way I want my horses to learn to read whether they need to move or not. If the trajectory of the stick isn't going to run into them, why should they move? So we need to be mindful with our cues of making sure it's something that if that pressure progressed, that it would influence the horse, so it makes sense of why they would move. Okay? Right away we can see there a little bit of anxiety comes up. The head starts bobbing up and down, and as he's trying to find some distance from the flag, he's going to have to be exposed to this. There it changed, so I might back off and hang out until he reads that that's just loud noise happening while he's in motion. Allow him a chance to saddle, and we're going to switch and go the other way. Now, notice he felt squeezed through that tight spot at the fence and felt like he needed to speed up as he passed me. We might send him through here a few times to make sure he doesn't feel the need for that. There's a few ways I can make this easier for him. I can get further away. I can just give him reps to where he doesn't get a lot of comfort on that other side by rushing. He might actually have to work harder the faster he goes. Let that kind of be hard here, to where faster isn't getting him comfort. There, see, he changed and he wanted to slow down a little bit. Him wanting to slow down looks like him freezing up. There, see, he got more thoughtful about nose, neck, shoulder. So now I can allow the pressure to come on a little slower. There, he started slowing down sooner. So now I might ease back. He still needs to choose slower. There, nose, neck. Here comes shoulder, ribs, hip. Again, I could step back and give him more room. That would create less of a squeezy feeling. And that's not a wrong choice. But if we just make it easier all the time versus encouraging the horse to have to figure out the puzzle, It's like giving him the answer. Not wrong, just different. And so now that he walked through there, nothing would happen. So he realizes that that was maybe a better choice. I'll watch for him to interact with me. He's looking out and around over here. Okay. I can catch his attention by asking him to pay attention to what's going on. By giving him more, by shushing that flag around. We see right away, he relaxed that head and neck. I'd count it down. 3, 2, 1, and then let's think about the other way. You're seeing nose, neck, nose, neck, nose, neck. This is where I wouldn't rush him. I want him to have time to go that slow. And when nothing happens to him when he goes that slow, that's how he knows that it was a good choice. We can keep horse training that simple. Now, I could feed him a treat, I could clicker a clicker. There's lots of things you can do to be clear about the reward. For me, I'm comfortable with this, and it's very reproducible. Okay, let's head off down the fence the other direction. So again, we walk very slowly to allow him the time to feel good about this. Be pushed to be thoughtful by going slow. And then I might start waving this around. It gives him a little startle. He has to figure out, is that about him or is that just happening? And I would just keep this going till he hits a new level of settle. There it changed. So I might just coast to a standstill. Again, he's able to handle more and more pressure every day. So I really like how simple that's getting, and hopefully you're seeing the difference from the last session. There's been one session in between, and all I did was the same thing that we did in the last session. We haven't added anything yet, so we're just getting coats of paint. Is allowing this to be simple, getting a little noisy with the flag and shushing that around while he's in motion. As he came around, I let him come to that back side where I was slapping that flag, so he realized he could just slow down. That flag wasn't happening in his space, and then we went back to going. We heard him blowing out. We see him starting to want to stretch forward with that head and neck. That's a key piece to keep him. You think back to when he first came for the evaluation, he was like this coming off the trailer. And that's just all that tension and worry and alert. And as we get rid of that and take that away, he feels safer and more comfortable. That starts to help negate the negative behavior he's not looking for. So, last thing is going to be backing, and then the horse burpees. We'll put the rope behind that horn and do that turnaround. Okay, so now we're going to do our backing. Again, I like to hold the knot here and have that head and neck relax, and be able to just step in and crowd him a little bit. And see, he's pulling on my arm. I want to have that relax and have that arm. I want to be like Weekend at Bernie's, okay, where my arm can just be relaxed. Not have him pulling too fast backwards, not have him pulling his head up and away, and just feeling like he can be that close and kind of intimate with my personal space. If I'm going to sit on him and ask him to move, he's got to be comfortable with me being very close to him and not feeling like he's got to get away. We can very easily accidentally teach a horse get away from pressure versus follow the pressure. Hurting pressure guides them with the stick and our energy. Steady pressure guides them with the rope and the reins. So now we're seeing that much slower. My arm can just be loose and hanging here. And if I step in and it just lightly pushes his nose back, that he goes, and when he feels that get taut behind the ears, he just relaxes that head and neck. That's some nice backing. So now from here, we're just going to put that rope behind that horn, get a few turnarounds, make sure that that's working before we tie him around and get him into motion. It's important when we put that rope that we don't teach them that that means move. So when I can block them or stand here and rub on them for a moment and then ask him to go, it helps keep it very thoughtful and not rushed. We're getting all the body parts going from a standstill forwards. There's backwards because he stands up and slows the front feet. There's right and left turns there, and the whole body gets involved in that move. So that slow and thoughtful on the first go each direction tells me we're ready for the tying around. All right, so we're going to look at the tying around again. This is something that can be very demonized, and I'm a bad person because I use this. That's okay. You'll live. So will he. And that's the part we got to be careful about, making things right and wrong. We got to look at how can it be the most functional and safe for everybody involved. And this is a really honest way for that horse to find slack in the rope and learn some of the moves with enough space to do so and not feel so trapped. And it builds us up to working closer and closer. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to go behind the horn, or excuse me, behind the cantle, find that amount of bend, and we've slowly gotten snugger and snugger where he has to have a little more bend, and go off on the horn. Now, what he's has been learning is how to step to the outside. See how he wants to kind of follow his nose and spin around? I should be able to push on that rein and push him over. And we're going to start now looking at how can we do that. So you guys are going to stay kind of right off of my hip. And I'm going to step in there. Stay close. I'm going to step in there and get where I can rub on him. I need him to feel that. So I might have to step up here in front to block his forward motion so that he reads me. I need him to read me that I want to step up here and rub on him. I want to be able to hold here, invite him forward, and push on this rein to push him laterally. We've had to wait till he got more and more confident with how to move his body and not feel trapped where he'd get to spinning and getting in a flurry. When I can push him with this rein over with that bend, those front feet crossing over and the hind feet are actually crossing over, creates a hard physical way for him to rear. And it's showing him the out. And when I can do that by pushing the rein, that means I have one form of communication working to get him over. Then I can add bumping him at the belly line with the stirrup to encourage him over. That's going to be my leg inviting him over. He gets stuck and wants to suck back. If I can get my stick behind him and invite him without much, that's a great start. I'm going to need to, when I ride him, be able to get my legs going. And I really want to just use one leg if possible to do that, to not create this jammed up of two legs going on. It's a common mistake people make, especially early on with a horse or when a horse gets bothered. If I can use one leg and bump him laterally, turning fixes forwards and backwards. So when I can turn those front feet to the right, it then is easier to release him to some forward motion versus if he's stuck at a standstill and I jam two legs on him and squeeze him and he's feeling trapped, it's easy getting a horse going up in the air or running backwards harder. So this is where we built up to this. And then I would want to be able to step in here, have some distance, give him some speed. See how he kind of knew what to do with the sideways? And when I can kind of push on him up to faster and faster speeds without him feeling stuck, it's really showing that this setup and technique has helped him find his way through feeling trapped and how to get a lot of bend. I'm going to send you guys out so we can build our way all the way up to a canter with this now, and then we'll start our mounting process. Hopefully you could start to see as we cantered, he took the outside lead, and then he found his inside lead, and that head and neck started to come forward and down. We're going to snug this up a little bit, so he has to have a little more lateral bend, go a little more. We've built our way up to doing this over 3 sessions now, and then we'll do the other side. Okay, so it's a lot snugger now. This will make it harder on him, so we're going to start slow and ease our way into it as he kind of shows me he's ready. see, as I held my position there, he felt really stuck, wanted to go up in the air, and we mostly just waited. You don't need to add any pressure in that moment. And then he found, like there, he's finding his way to step over, give himself room to start to bend. We're just going to keep approaching, retreating. On the far side of the round pen, he kind of found his own way into the trot. As I kind of maintain distance, I'm not trying to close distance. That's him showing me he's ready for a little more speed. So then we'll start upping it towards the canter. So he went easily straight into the canter that time. We'll do a few more, but that's what's showing me he's kind of realized he got scared, worried, up, and then found his way through the puzzle. Again, it's important that we set this up so he can have those opinions. We try to do it as safe for everybody as possible, but that way that behavior doesn't work and he starts to learn something different to do to get relief. So now we've had good canter, beautiful little transitions. We undo, do the other side, let him find the standstill, relax first, and then we'll go ask him to find his way forward with that much feel on the face. So we just did the other side. We had good progress. We shortened it up, challenged him a little bit more. Went again, he's finding his way there. I like that in that first round. He found his way to blow out while going into the canter. And it's going to be important to just keep building this up where he has more and more flexibility and confidence in those tighter binds where he doesn't feel trapped. He knows just give a little more, stretch a little harder, relax a little more, and he'll find his comfort versus trying to push through the pressure. I'm going to do a little bit of the right bend and bumping him with the stirrup that we did to the left. I don't necessarily have to do that tied around. And then we're going to get our hackamore on. I'm going to switch into my riding boots and we'll mount up. Okay, so we've switched gears and we've put our rope halter with the reins, just a rope hackamore on. That way it's the same feel he's been getting on the face. Now it's just got a set of reins and a lead rope if I need to get down. We've checked our cinch. We're gonna just double check, start stepping up, rubbing all over, sit down. I've got my riding boots on, but I've taken off my spurs that I normally would ride with. And that's just to create less opportunities to goose him. And I want him getting comfortable with lots of just bumping of the boot. And that'll help build his confidence. Again, we're mostly getting on to start making friends, rubbing him a whole lot, helping him correlate all that work we just did on the ground to get that relaxed head and neck where he can stretch through his whole body and lead with that nose and neck forward and have the feet follow versus getting tight and scrambly with the feet. Okay, so follow along, enjoy the ride, and I'll chat with you after. I'll chat for you, Vicky, while I'm kind of doing this, if I get quiet because I'm focused. You see that little bit as I've got that right rein, swung his hip to the right. That's him looking for an out the other way. There, see, you kind of step that hip. That's going to be an important piece as we work. I need to be able to bend him this way and ride him this way. See how he's just getting tight there. So now I'll just do a little bit of bumping with the right leg. There, see the head and neck start to relax?
Right.
That's where I'd release him. There, see that starting to drop that head? The feel on the rein caused him to relax through the head and neck. Just like what I've been teaching him to do with the flag, down the center. When he gets distracted and wants to look off that way, no big deal. I'm just going to keep setting it up to be easy for him to come here. Notice how the shoulders are thrown to the inside. I need him to step that way, but I can't force that right now. I need to not make a fight. I need to make friends.
Right.
So I'm just taking notes of that stuff and finding little ways to just kind of tweak this in. See how that's a lot easier? So that just means that I'm going to have a little more there. See? He stepped the shoulders over there. There, see? That's the move I need. That's the move that saves them. So that little bit of tension that we found there, want to pull his head to the left, there, see? There's the move. There, and he kind of gulped and took a bit of a breath. There. Ah, perfect. So it's a leg yield and it's a shoulders in position that releases them through the shoulders in the rib cage. Okay, Jennifer knows this with all her dressage background. That's how you can loosen them. There, see? That little bit of right leg, bump, 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 and riding them out. That's what he needs a whole lot of to relax through that front end and not want to go up in the air. There, see, now I felt him in his shoulder and his withers. He just kind of went like this under me in a healthy way. There, see, there it is again. When he puts that head and neck down, then he'll actually bring his back up under me. Relax through his top line. There. There, see, now on a little leg, this right leg is bumping, can ride him over there. And then I can just touch him a little bit here. I'm not hanging on his stake. Okay, so it's really important when we're learning to ride to help these kind of horses that we have a hand on the buckle where we can get down and switch. This keeps me from doing this stuff, okay? We want to get one hand down, and this still has the buckle, so when I release him there, I'm in position to get the other way. So I can turn and turn and turn and turn to help fix the forwards or backwards wherever the problem is. If I get up in here, it's very easy to make them feel wadded up about backwards. Okay, so we want to be slow and thoughtful about that, especially on a horse that's already had some trouble. And the better we can get him doing backing there and all the lateral work, sliding him side to side is really going to help him relax. So when I can have him bent, this left leg goes bump, bump, bump. The right leg is still, and so I've got him bent here, but I'm riding him to the outside. There, like that. And that's the same move that we did when we had him tied around. There, and see how that releases him, gets him to stretch through his whole body. So I hope you can see how all that prep we did on that groundwork really helped teach him about where he can put his body parts, how he can move his body parts, and that the goal is relax, especially through this front end, so that it doesn't feel like it needs to go up in the air. All that lateral bending and lateral movement really helps start to free him up, and we see him stretch over the top line. So the next lesson is here. It's time to step off. That's a successful first ride. We're happy to be able to have brought you along on this process, and we will continue to bring you along to enjoy this Problem Horse series. I'm Jake. This is Cisco. We're at Pear Ranch. If you like what we're doing, hit that thumbs up. If you want to get subscribed, you can click here. And if you want to see another video, you can click here. We'll see you next time.